Good morning. Today is the 25th of June 2024. I'm going to go through my trading plan today and my watch list. Before we start, as always, we are going to look to see what could move the market today in the news. We've had a bit of news at 8:30. We saw a bit of a negative reaction to that. We had a Fed speaker. We've got some news coming in, consumer confidence coming in at 10 AM. So if in a trade at 10, be a bit wary, and we've got some Fed speaking today as well, 12 PM and just after 2, 10 past 2, so just be wary of those times. Okay, so back on my screen is the ES, and we're looking at the 1 hour time frame. As for levels, we can see yesterday, let's open up my pen, we can see yesterday we had a bit of a sell-off. I did okay, I managed to get a decent 5-hour trade out of that. I did find the top. I found the top. Let's change the colour back to yellow. So I found the top, and then I traded down, held for a bit, pulled back, and I got out around about 5 hours, about there. So that's a decent trade for the day. Similar levels to what we were watching yesterday. I do quite like this area here. We held it for quite a long time, and then we finally broke through yesterday, came back, we retested that area, broke down again in the pre-market, and we're back up in that region again now. So I would have said this would be a break and retest of that level, which we've already had in the pre-market. I'm not sure how effective it will be a second time round, so I'll keep an eye on this area for a potential reversal around this point, maybe if it breaks below the VWAP at 55.21, 55.20, but it's a higher risk trade if we take that, purely because we have already looking out for perfect rejection right on that level as well, and that's levels we've had drawn in for some time. So if I were to find a bounce area, I've got two areas for a bounce. We can watch this area again, yesterday's low, pre-market low, for a bounce, and if we can't hold it, it breaks through, we can look for the break and retest short. Our first target, which is also a bounce area, is 54.92. We've got the region to 5,500, this region here, and if we can't hold that area, we've got this big area of demand at 54.62 through to 54.80, so we can look for a bounce in this region. Let's zoom out a bit, let's take a look at the daily. Oh, let's go back to that. Here we go, so we're looking at the daily. We've had 3 bars down, 1, 2, 3, and we're putting in some topping tails as well, going right up to the 8 moving average. Still got some distance down to before we get to the 20 moving average, and we're still quite far away from the 50 moving average. We were back there at the start of June, almost a month ago. Whether we get back there again, I don't know. Volume wise, interesting to see, we had 3 candles selling off, and we had decline in volume as well. Kind of could show that we're just pulling back and maybe looking to put in a new high. So we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, if we break yesterday's high, then we can look for longs, and if we break yesterday's low, we can potentially look for some shorts to continue this downtrend on the daily. So it's back to the hourly, pick up some levels. Okay, so if we get above pre-market high and we break through and pull back into pre-market high, and we close above the 200 and above the 50, then we can look for potentially some longs, but we need to be closing above these 2 moving averages, the 50 and the 200. While we're below it, they're acting as resistance and keeping the market below, and so only shorts, we should only be looking shorts if we're below that. I'm looking for a potential sell setup into this area back down, higher risk 55.20 to 55.25 area, and then I'll be watching for the bounce down at 55.10, 55.15. If we do sell off, the best place for the bounce will be this area of demand. You could say from 54.50, and that's, I will mark that off as well. and that's the top of that pivot. Area consolidation 54.50 is where we've been watching a few times previously as well, and that's where the volume starts coming in. So kind of watch for a bounce down in this region, 54.62 to 54.80, and we've got a bounce area at 54.92 to 5500. And then if we do break above pre-market high, we can watch for a long above, and we've got potential targets at yesterday's high, and we've got a couple of levels drawn in here, so we don't need both. Get rid of that one. And we've got this area of confidence as well with volume as well, and you can see the point of control is up in this region as well, so we could potentially look for a rejection around that area 55.50, 55.55 if we don't quite get into yesterday's high. And I think that's it. So I'm going to keep that level there for the rejection. We can keep this level for the break and retest. It's hard really. Do you know what? There's so much chop here. Let's ignore that. I really want to see it get out above this area or stay below this area. So I'm not going to play this area at all today. If it goes, it goes. Then I'll be just looking for a rejection up here, or even a break and continuation. But we need to get out of this area. So quick change of mind, and I'll keep it as risk-free as possible. We've got all the volumes in this area as well, so if we're going long, it's going to be hard unless we have a big push up. So let's just simplify it. 4 levels in one watch today. A rejection up in this zone, 55.51 to 55.60, and if that breaks through, then we can look for the break and retest. I was watching for the break and retest above pre-market. I will keep an eye on it, but it's going to be hard with all this chop to the left. So I'm looking for a rejection in this region where we are now, and then I'm looking for a potential bounce down at 55.10 area. We bounced it twice in the pre-market. We closed there yesterday. We closed down in that area yesterday as well. So yesterday's low area for the bounce. And then if we do sell off, then I'm watching these two areas at the bottom, 54.92 and 54.62 for bounces. That's it, and keep it as simple as possible. SPY. One thing I was going to say, we've also got this downtrend in the hourly, which I'll put in on the SPY. So just draw that in as well. And that should coincide with the rejection area we're looking at. So point of control region, this region here as well. So we've got another reason. Another confirmation as well for the rejection up there. I forgot to mention that. And that's this hourly trend line. Okay, so that's several good reasons to look for a reject in that region. Point of control, hourly trend line, area of confluence as well, and 55.51 is the level we've been hovering around for the last few days as well. Okay, back onto SPY. Similar levels on SPY. Watching for the rejection of this hourly trend. You've got the 50 moving average curving around as well. And so 545 to 546 rejection area. We can keep an eye on yesterday's high as well for rejection. But if we're closing above the trend line, maybe we can look for the break and retest long of pre-market high as well. And that's the other reason I don't like the pre-market break and retest, because we're going into this hourly trend line. If we lose this point of control, which is 542.60 area, I quite like looking for the break and retest short. So break and retest short, with a potential target of this region, and that's our bounce area at 540, this region here. That's it for SPY, SPX. Same as yesterday, we got all-time highs, 55.60. Keep an eye on that one. We're right in an area of confluence, coming to that pivot area now, and then we've got the bounce area at 5400. So we keep an eye on that number, and 5500 as well. So 2 psychological numbers, and just keep an eye on where we open. We are possibly going to be opening a little bit higher based on how we were done in the pre-market. We also will be closed, also will be below the 50 moving average as well, so we can look for a short, same as before, look for short in this region for the leg down. NQ, this is looking a little bit more bearish than ES. Got this level here which I quite like it to come back into, to retest and then break down. So I'm going to watch between 19,945 and 20,000. Yesterday's high, psychological number as well. So 20,000 is the key number here for the rejection, and we will be below the 200 moving average. Potentially we could be coming up to meet the 50 moving average as well. It's an area of confluence. We've got a bit of volume coming in as well, so a bit of a volume shelf as well. Bounce wise, nothing until we get down into this region here, and we've got the point of control, so we can watch 19,300 for the bounce. Notice the lack of volume here as well, so if we do lose this level, and that's 19,700, then there's not a great deal of volume to hold us back. Moving on to QQQ. How do you for time? I've got loads of time till quarter of an hour before market opens. QQQ is coming right up into the hourly level right now, so we keep an eye on this for a potential rejection at pre-market high, or the break and retest of pre-market high long. Yesterday's high is a target, area of confluence, bottoms of all those tails, and we've got a bit of a volume shelf above as well, so keep an eye on 480 for a target or a rejection area. And then we can watch pre-market low yesterday for a bounce, but also we can watch it flip and go for a break and retest short, and we will be below the 200 moving average if we get down there as well. And then again, notice the void and the volume to the left, and our next area of interest will be down at 461 to 464 area for the bounce. Crude oil. So crude oil put in a double top yesterday. We can watch that area also for a, let's just draw it in, for a potential breakout. So watch it for a break and retest long. So that's 81.78, familiar numbers, we remember that number from there. If we break down and we get below the point of control, which we can watch this region for a bounce, 80.50, then we've got the 200 moving average coming up to meet us as well, so it's going to be hard to go short. We are still in an uptrend. We haven't broken until we break this pivot, 80.27. And looking at, if we do break out, we've got a target of, probably a target of 82.41 is our next target. Put that in place, and then if we do break down, our next target will be, if we do lose that level, we've got $80, or we've got 79.50 area for the bounce. And that's it really for crude oil. Big uptrend, so play the trend on that one. Look for continuation, break and retest, or the bounce. Next up is gold. We've got this trend line we can clearly see right now. Look at that. And we've got this trend line as well, so we are just getting, see we're kind of getting thinner and thinner, testing the top ends of each of those trend lines. So it's a matter of either breaking below pre-market low, break and retest short, or breaking above pre-market high, break and retest long. They're the only two levels, so we can keep an eye on 23.49 for break and retest, or we can watch 23.34 for the break and retest short. That's all that was on. And if we do get up into these regions, we can potentially watch for rejection up here, and maybe even an add. If we break through it, retest, we can look for an add to keep pushing up. RTY. What's our trend line looking up here? That's our hourly trend line. Far from breaking it, but we can use that as a potential rejection area, which may work out well because we've got the point of control in that area, some levels in that area as well. So 2090 area for a rejection, this region to 2080. Potentially a break and retest of pre-market high, but we have got yesterday's high above, so maybe break of that area would be better. And then we watch for the bounce down here, area confluence, mainly or lots of touches. So we've got 2038 for the bounce, and then maybe if we get down to 2019, we'll watch out for the bounce as well. Okay, that's it for RTY. Next one is the Dow Jones. Oh, look at this! Look how we had these levels in place. Came in yesterday, touched it, rejected it, and so let's just find a potential bounce area. Got to be those highs. So let's watch 39,681 for a bounce, and you've got the 50 moving average in that same region as well. This region here. If we break above pre-market high, I really like to break above pre-market high at yesterday's high. Excuse me. So let's watch 40,000 for the break and retest long, but it is a psychological number, so let's also watch it for the rejection as well. And that's all I've got for that one. Bitcoin is looking extremely weak yesterday. What stands out is we were really oversold, came right in. We had these levels, look at these levels we put in. We put that level in. What level was that? We put in 5,900, and we can see it bounce off of that area. I think I might have already put that in possibly, I'm not quite sure why it's there. I must have put that in yesterday, it must have been pre-market level. Where's that come from? Oh, Monday. We put it in Monday, and it's probably the bottom of that candle. So we can still watch that level for a bounce. And the big area we're watching for, which we've broken through, is this trend line. So if we can get back up into this region, the 200 moving average could be meeting up with us as well. So 63 to 64. Remember 64, we talked about that a couple of days ago. That's a key area. We bounced once, tried to bounce second time, wasn't very successful, and then lost that area. But let's watch 64 for the rejection, or the break and retest long if it breaks that trend line. Go back to the daily. I think the level we put in will make more sense on the daily. Yeah, I think it's bottom of pivot, bottom of these pivots, bottom of these pivots, tops of these pivots as well, and it happens to be the bottom. So that's a region that there is price action, so we can keep that level in place there. And I think that's it. We'll look at order flow before I close the stream. Back to ES, see if there's any movement in the last few minutes, and review the order flow. Hourly, I think it's just been going sideways. He hasn't really done anything. We're in this little range here, and we either need to do one or two things: break out, retest, come back in. So that's one of our plays we're watching. Break and retest pre-market high, but it's high risk because we do have all this chop to the left. It's gonna be hard trying to get through that area. So me personally, I probably will avoid that myself, and I'll just wait for it to get up into this region for rejection, or this region for the bounce, and that's 55.10. Let's flick to my other screen to look at the order.